morning person is up there. Sorry about that. You know, it's tough when you can't remember everybody here. But Pat Gentry's up there, and who else is up there? Dominique and oh, for God's sake! Thank you, Dominique. Thank you. All right, so we're all here and we are ready to do what we're supposed to do when we come to church. We're ready to let the soul sing. And when the soul sings, you know what happens? It transforms you in this world. So, Jennifer, are you ready for that?
We're ready to go.
Let's
Please stand
do it.
if you're able and join us in the congregational song.
Let's do it.
I said a prayer for you today, a simple prayer I often pray, a prayer I always like to say for those I meet along the way. This simple prayer was meant for you, that you'll be blessed in all you do, in everything that you pursue, and may all your dreams come true. I said a prayer for you today. I said a prayer for you today, a simple prayer I often pray, a prayer I always like to say for those I meet along the way. This simple prayer was meant for you, that you'll be blessed in all you do, in everything that you pursue, and may all your dreams come true. I said a prayer for you today.
Well, that was beautiful, and I now want to tell you that one of our favorite people in the world, or used to be in the world, I don't know how you say that quite, but Ernest Holmes' birthday is today. Yeah, and of course, he's our great theologian in the science of mind and new thought. And the lyrics for that song were written by Ernest Holmes, who was himself quite a poet. And I don't know how many, I don't think I've heard any other set of lyrics that he has written that have been turned into song, but he was quite poetic, as mystics tend to be, and he certainly was that. So we're going to be celebrating his birthday today, and Reverend Dan Wenzel is here, and he's going to, after Elizabeth shares some things you need to know, tell you a little bit about Ernest Holmes, because on a day like this, we want to honor the great one. And so enjoy what information that Reverend Dan brings to you. So right now we'll have Elizabeth.
Thank you and good morning, everyone. So good to see you. Your beautiful face this morning, and you came out in the rain. Oh, that's wonderful. So good to see all of you here. Your beautiful faces and your smiles, and for those of you who are live streaming, welcome to Sunday service with us this morning. I just have a few announcements I'm going to share with you. You know, we always like to talk about prayer, and prayer that is available to you after service. We do have practitioners each and every Sunday here on duty that are holding the high watch and holding vigil for anyone after service, as well as the service itself and everyone here. So today we are honored to have Cheryl Collins, who's holding the vigil this morning. Wave your hand, Cheryl. That's her over there, and she will certainly be here after service to provide prayer for anyone who is in need of prayer. And please take advantage of this wonderful opportunity to have prayer. She'll be right down here by the organ, and you can come down and speak with her and sit with her and let her speak the truth over your situation. Good truth over your situation. The prayer boxes will also come up here after service and sit on both sides of the podium here so that Dr. Arthur can pray over them today. And then, for 30 days after, they will be prayed over by practitioners as well. So take advantage of that opportunity. There's a prayer card in the foyer. You can get that prayer card and fill it out and place it in the prayer boxes. You can do that before they come up here at the end of service. The Mystic Circle Wednesday night service with Dr. Arthur meets by Zoom each Wednesday, and that's at 6:30 p.m. Dr. Arthur's topic this coming Wednesday will be Science, Something to Use, based on a book by Dr. Ernest Holmes. If you are not already on the Zoom invitation, please leave your email address with an usher, or during the service, or during the week, you can bring it into the office. Reverend Dan's meditation and Thursday night live discussion meetings is held by Zoom also on Thursdays, with meditation at 7:30 p.m. and the discussion for spiritual principles begins at 8 o'clock p.m. The topic this week will be spiritual laws. The information, let's see here, spiritual laws. The Zoom ID and passcode are on the flyer in the foyer for your convenience. Share this information, please, with your friends and invite them to join you in this experience of opportunity to learn more about science of mind principles to Can you hear me? Oh, okay. That's a little better, I think. It is one of the ways we can reach out to our worldwide community and attract people to the wealth of learning that is available through Founders. The family of our friend, Leslie Hinman, is holding a celebration of her life on Saturday, March the 2nd at 2 o'clock p.m. at the clubhouse at the Village Green in Culver City. I'd just like to say that Leslie was such a bright light here at Founders. She was just so full of energy. She sang in the choir, and I remember her every Sunday. She would just be going back and forth with hands, grabbing everybody's hand, and when we did our closing song of peace, and always, always greeting everyone with a smile. And so they're holding her celebration of life at the clubhouse at the Village Green in Culver City. So if anyone knew her and would like to come out and honor her that day on March the 2nd at 2 p.m., there's a flyer with information in the foyer on the table. There will be a congregational, this is very important, there will be a congregational meeting after church today. We've been leaving messages about that each Sunday, but today is the Sunday that we're having the congregational meeting after church. And you are invited to come down to Hornaday Hall after the service for refreshments and to hear a report of Founders' finances and to take part in discussions, sharing ideas on how to reach more people and grow Founders' attendance and prosperity. Many thanks to Sylvia Ashley, who prepared chicken and rice for today's meal. That deserves a hand, yes. So each one of you who are here, please stay after. It's not going to be a long meeting, not a long meeting. And we want everyone to come down and participate. This is our church, your church, my church, all of our church. And we want to come down and really participate in this discussion and add anything that you may want to add to the meeting in suggestions. We welcome that. There's a practitioner meeting after church by Zoom and in person on Sunday, January 28th. That's for practitioners and practitioner students as well. Watch for the invitation on your emails or plan on attending in person. That's very important. That's next Sunday, I believe, January 28th. At this point, I'd like to just piggyback off what Dr. Arthur was saying about our wonderful Reverend Dan Winsel, who is going to share some thoughts honoring Dr. Ernest Holmes today on his 137th anniversary of birth. Let's give him a warm welcome. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. It's so good to see you and to see you. Know that we're all one here this morning. I have a few minutes to speak about Ernest Holmes, and so I will laser in to what I want to say this morning. I encourage everybody who really wants to go in depth to read the biography that his brother Fenwick wrote and do the research that it's out there. But this is the most important part that I wanted to mention today. So we know, if you didn't know, some of you may not know, that he was the founder of the religious science movement, which eventually then became known as the Centers for Spiritual Living. He was born in 1887 to a poor family. He left school at 15. He worked and put himself through school and was self-educated. He was introduced to Mary Baker Eddy and Christian Science, and then studied with Emma Curtis Hopkins, who was the teacher of teachers and taught so many people in the New Thought movement. And he followed his brother Fenwick in 1912 out to California, and he worked a city job. And then he kept studying, and he started in 1916 speaking at the Metaphysical Library. And then he published his first book in 1919 called Creative Mind. His first edition of the Science of Mind textbook came in 1926, which was then expanded into 1935 to the textbook that we use today. He started lecturing, and it grew from the theater to bigger theater to bigger theater to bigger theater. In 1927, he incorporated the Institute for Religious Science. His original vision was an institute, and then it became incorporated as a religious organization, the Churches of Religious Science, which eventually became the Centers for Spiritual Living. Now, there's a lot to say about Ernest Holmes, which I don't have time for. I encourage everyone to read What We Believe out on the plaque. If you don't know what we believe, it's on the wall. It's, what we believe, but what we believe is that thought creates reality. But the most important thing that I want to get today, and it really struck me today, is that he was born from a poor family. He's self-educated. He had a city job. He was he comes from humble beginnings. So many people tell themselves, but Reverend Dan, I came from the wrong side of the tracks. I didn't get the fancy education. I didn't get the trust fund. Who am I to do whatever? Who am I? God, the universe, Spirit, loves working through people from humble backgrounds. You may have heard of a welfare mother in Chicago who became known as the indefatigable, incomparable Oprah Winfrey. Whatever our background, whatever our beginnings, does not determine our endings. We may not all have the same start in this thing called life on earth. But we all have within us spirit. We all have within us the ability to grow, to change right from where we are. We have self-reliance, we have self-action, we have self-initiative. It's amazing what we can accomplish. And we live in a wonderful, believe it or not, a wonderful country and a wonderful society that allows us to grow and blossom. So wherever you are when you hear this, just know you can grow and blossom. We also don't deify Ernest Holmes. We don't say that there was something in him, and Ernest Holmes, I'm thinking, would be the first one to say this. He's not saying that there's something in him that wasn't also in us. His whole message was that what was in the Christ and in the Buddha and in him is also in us. I mean, quite frankly, that was Jesus' message. We always want to put it outside of ourselves. So the best way to honor Ernest Holmes on this birthday is to use the power within you and go live an amazing life. Go expand your consciousness and go create a better world. I think that's all the time I have for the moment. So, but today is a great day to share our appreciation that he felt the call within. So whatever's calling you from within, follow that, because mighty.
Oh, many thanks to Dan. Let's give him a bigger hand to share that wonderful information. Yes, 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 for Dr. Holmes' birthday. Now, if there are any first-time visitors here for the very first time, would you please stand so that we can just acknowledge you and welcome you this morning? Any visitors at all, please stand. No visitors? Okay. All family, wonderful. That's wonderful. Now what we're going to do is to ask everyone to stand so that we can read our affirmation that's on the bottom of the bulletin. And let's do that now together. Shall we do that? In everything I think, do, or say, I am
Jennifer's here. Just wanted to take a quick moment to introduce our other Jennifer, Jennifer Miller-Hamill. She has sung here before. Jen and I have been friends for probably about 15 years, something like that. I think we knew of each other before we actually knew each other. But, so Jenna is a classically trained singer like I am. She is also an amazing pop singer, which you will hear in a moment. But what you may or may not know is that she is also an on-air personality at Radio KUSC. Jen has been on air at KUSC for about 6 years now. And I've got my notes, she hosts the weekday morning show. She hosts the Sunday night opera show. And she also created and is the host of the new video game music stream, which is called Arcade. So please put your hands together for the fabulous Jennifer Miller-Hamill.
That's why my hair is purple, it's because I do video game music now. All right, here we go.
Every day is so wonderful, then suddenly it's hard to breathe. Now and then I get insecure from all the pain. I'm so ashamed. I am beautiful no matter what they say. Words can't bring me down. No, I am beautiful in every single way. These words can't bring me down. in all you're doing. Trying hard to fill the emptiness, the piece is gone. Left the puzzle undone, that's the way it is. You are beautiful no matter what they say. Words can't bring you down, no. You are beautiful in every single way. 'Cause words can't bring you down. So don't you bring me down today. Oh, no matter what they do, just know the world of song inside the tune. And everywhere we go, the sun will always shine. Tomorrow we might awake on the other side. 'Cause we are beautiful no matter what they say. 'Cause words won't bring you down, no. We are beautiful no matter what they say. 'Cause words can't bring us down, no. So don't you bring me down today. Ooh, don't you bring me down today, no. Don't you bring me down, no, today.
Yes. Thank you, Jennifer. We missed that beautiful voice. Jennifer Miller Hamill. Let's give her another wonderful round of applause. Thank you, Jennifer. I just got some information I wanted to share with you before I do the Bible readings. We have an event coming up, Bingo Day, and it's coming up on February 17th from 1 to 4 p.m. The flyer looks like this. I think there are flyers in the foyer, right? There should be. Or if not, we'll certainly get some more flyers for you. There's so much going on that day on February 17th. Homemade shepherd pie. This is a day of English. Page 133, paragraph 4. Great as the subconscious is, its tendency is set in motion by the conscious thought. And in this lies the possibility of and the pathway to freedom. Freedom and bondage, sickness and health, poverty and riches, heaven and hell, good and bad, big and little, happiness and misery, peace and confusion, faith and fear, and all conditions which appear to be opposites or not really a result of the operation of opposing powers, but are the way and the one power the one power is used. And so it is. And so what I'd like to do is invite each and every one of you here, under the sound of my voice, both in person and live streaming, to just turn within and close your eyes and let's repeat the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen and amen.
This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it.
This is the day that the Lord has made. Oh, I just love that. We will rejoice and be glad in it. This beautiful day, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to turn within to that all-knowing presence and power to speak my word this morning. Going into this new year, the first month of the year, we are so blessed for all the new opportunities that are before each and every one of us for this amazing year. A year of us stepping into our full potential, knowing the love and grace of God surrounds each and every one of us, having God's favor, recognizing God's favor, claiming God's favor in this new year. I know that each and every one under the sound of my voice is having a wonderful experience right here and right now. Those who came out to church in person, those who are online, I am so grateful for your presence here today. Grateful that you are available to hear the words that God speaks through me this morning. I know that each and every one here is a wonderful expression of love and grace of God that surrounds you. I speak my word for each one here on the podium, for the musicians, the vocalists, for the ushers and those who are working in the booth, each and every one providing their know-how, their gifts that God has placed in their heart to share with us to make this a successful worship service. I am so grateful that I can speak my word this morning for Dr. Arthur as he brings his message of what God has placed on his heart to share with us, and that we are blessed, truly blessed and highly favored by God to have a wonderful speaker and pastor of our church for so many years share his wisdom with us today. For all of this, I say thank you. Infinite Spirit and divine presence. I know that the word that I speak comes from deep within me, and I know that it is the truth about each and every one of us. Right here and right now, I release this word. And so it is. Amen and amen.
the parade passes by, I'm gonna get some life back into my life. I'm ready to move out in front. I've had enough of just passing my life with the rest of them, with the best of them. I can hold my head up high, or I'm gonna go again. I'm gonna drive again. I'm gonna feel my heart coming alive again before the parade passes by. Look at that crowd up ahead. Listen and hear that brass harmony growing. Look at that crowd up ahead. Pardon me if my old spirit is showing. All of those lights over there seem to be telling me where I'm going. When the whistles blow and the cymbals crash and the sparklers light the sky, I'm gonna raise the roof, I'm gonna carry on. Give me that old trombone, give me that old baton before the parade passes by.
Well, thank you, Jennifer. And thank you, band. Give them all a hand. Yeah. And we're here before the parade passes by, and that is good, isn't it? Want to thank Reverend Dan for his presentation of Ernest Holmes. I am sure we are all a little bit more informed than we were before. It's amazing that one can seemingly grow up without the kind of a formal education we would expect to get as we go along. And in spite of all that, find a way to parlay himself up to the highest level of inspiration, because in his day, he attracted thousands of people to science of mind, to religious science, which we now call Centers for Spiritual Living. But today my subject is the miracle of working out for well-being. Working out for well-being. And I want to say it's a miracle because for me, every day I get up and I look around, I am astonished and pleased. And I know it's a miracle. I mean, one of these days I'm going to get up and I won't be able to look around. I won't even be here. But I don't want to be morbid. I'm just saying what a privilege it is to be alive in the universe. If you can't start there, I don't know where you can start. And the wonderful thing is not just that we're here in consciousness. The wonderful thing is that we can do something about it. We have hands and ears and eyes, and we have all the senses that we have. And then we have this innermost essence in all of us, this innermost aspect of being that we call the God self or the soul or whatever name we want to give it, depending on what religions we are from. But the idea is that you're coming out of an inexhaustible source of good within yourself. And it doesn't matter who you are, when you were born, what your opportunities are. What matters is what you decide to do from the moment you come into awareness that life is for you to be more expressive, life is for you to grow, life is for you to accomplish your dreams and aspirations. And so the new year, and it may not be as new as it was just a few days ago, a few weeks ago, but it's still quite new. And by now, those of us who have made our New Year's resolution have probably slipped off the track a few times. And I say yes if you have slipped off a few times, because it means you have restarted again. And that is the idea about your life. Your life is not about a straight line from where you are to where you wish to go. It's an adventure. and things happen, stuff happens, they say, and you have to find a way to deal with it when they happen. And that's what I want to deal with today. I want to tell you a little bit about commitment that you need for your work and for your accomplishment. I want to tell you a little bit about the perfection of the process and is in the process and not in the product or the finality of what your work is. I want to tell you a little bit about time, using time as a cutting table for reorganizing the changes that are coming about in your life. I want to tell you something about the brilliant finish as many restarts. Your brilliant finish, all the brilliant finishes that you see that people have accomplished in life, there have been many, many restarts. So if you're feeling a little down that, gee, I wanted to lose weight, usually that's where it starts with the new year. I want to lose some weight, or I want to get healthier, or whatever it is. But it's not just that alone. I want to make this year really count, be something that I'm very proud of. And then you're really motivated for the first couple of weeks. And if it's exercise, the first time you go around a track or go around the road, you say, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. But the truth is, if you keep on doing it, all of a sudden, you're in a different place. I've been there. I know what it's like. I've been there. High blood pressure, all these things years ago. And my doctor said, this was when I was in architecture, and my doctor said, I want you to start running. And I almost killed myself when I started. But we'll touch upon that in a little while. Let me start with the idea of your soul's commitment. Your soul needs your work. Your soul is the innermost part of you. And when we talk about the power of thought, thought really has power, but thought is not out there singly by itself. Everything in life needs something else to make it be fulfilled. That's how life is. Life is intensely relational. And in Buddhism, they call this dependent origination. Dependent origination, where one thing, if it's going to accomplish something, depends on another thing. And what happens is that when you make a decision about what you want to accomplish and make a commitment, the whole universe is converging upon that moment. And there is an expectation, there's a sense of surprise, there's a sense of, wow, we're into something here. The entire universe is forming around that point of consciousness that you're bringing to bear upon thought and thing. Thought and work, doing. This is the amazing thing about how miraculous your life is. And we are the only species on earth that can do it the way we do it. That we can totally remake ourselves in terms of what our purpose is, in terms of what we want to accomplish, in terms of going from what seemed to be failure to great success. And I am speaking to you, all of you, right now to let you know that this is what the Science of Mind is about. This is what we are all about in terms of moving from where we are to where we wish to be. And I don't speak of perfection in all this, because you're never going to be perfect in this life. I can speak of perfection, but in a loose way. When I speak of perfection, I'm speaking more of excellence. But what I want you to know is I speak of well-being. Well-being. And I'm borrowing the idea of how the World Health Organization, which is called WHO for short, speaks of health. They said, health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. You don't have to be in perfect health. You get up on New Year's Day, and you're saying, wow, I want to accomplish so much, but I don't really feel it. My body isn't quite really where it needs to be. The idea, as Ernest Holmes would tell you, is to begin where you are. That's not only the best place to begin, it's the only place you can begin. And the idea is for you to do what you can. And what is amazing is that as you begin to put one foot in front of the other, to embark upon that journey of your own accomplishment, things start happening. And I want to touch upon that again, because I touched upon it last week a little bit, but I want to be detailing it now. The great German writer, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, he is comparable to Shakespeare for Germany. And he wrote a really magnificent piece about commitment. And he says that until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back. And then he goes on to say that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence, which means God, providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. Take that seriously. The minute you make that commitment, the minute you decide not to turn back, when you turn back, it's like the idea of Lot's wife looking back at the burning cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. And it's the looking back with the feeling of full attachment to what seemed to be behind you that freezes you into inaction. And so he's saying, Wolfgang Goethe says, and by the way, if you're not familiar with his name, it's spelled Goethe. He says, a whole stream of events issue from that decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance. Listen to that. Unforeseen incidents, meetings, and material assistance which no man could have dreamed would have come his way. So what you're seeing is when you commit, when you have this idea, and it comes deeply from the soul, and you say, yes, this is not only who I am, this is what I am doing. This is what I am becoming in the outer world of expression. Then suddenly it is bringing in together many, many things that you would not even have dreamed about were possible. And he goes on to say, whatever you can do, or dream you can do, whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. So let me tell you a little bit about me and my path that is similar to this. Over 30 years ago, I decided to leave architecture to go into this risky business of becoming a minister. I did it quite reluctantly, just the way he says. It was, gee, do I dare disturb the universe? In a moment there is time for vision and revision, which a moment will reverse, and I reversed many times. I didn't want to do it. And people kept telling me, you know, you should be a minister. I was always interested from a child in mystical things. I grew up Catholic, and I was always reading into Eastern mysticism and all these things. So the priest wanted me to be a priest, and I said, no, that's not for me, you know. And so I got qualified eventually. It's funny, when I was at Guidance, I did become a practitioner, and I was in charge of education there at Guidance Church of Religious Science. And some of my students included Michael Beckwith and Nirvana Gale, and they went through and they went to School of Ministry, well, not Nirvana, but Michael, and became minister. And I was still there flipping around thinking, do I dare, do I not dare? Anyway, finally I did. and I became an assistant minister with Dr. Dan and then with Reverend Janie Hatch Roberts and at the Westside Church. And what happened is that this commitment started to grow, and then Dr. Hornaday passed, and Founders needed a minister, and so I came here and candidated. And of course, I'd never candidated for a position before. And here am I, 30 years later. What is interesting is one experienced minister who grew up through Founders, he said to me one day, and this was some years ago, years passed on now, he says, you know, I never applied for that job because I knew that whoever got the job would be fired, because that's what happened when you come behind and follow an icon like Dr. Hornaday. And so he didn't apply. Well, I was too foolish to know that that is what happens to when you follow an icon. And so I simply applied and didn't know whether I was going to get the job or not, but I applied, and here I am. So what I'm saying to you, when Goethe is telling us that a whole stream of events and issues that issued from the decision arising in one's favor are all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, these things actually happened. And I know I'm not saying it as if I'm unique. You yourself have had similar experiences, I'm sure. But what happens is that as we go along, we get a little bit more conservative about making changes. But there are changes that you may want to make. And I'm saying to you that it is about your life. Your life is not about remaining in the same place all the time. Your life is about taking the risk and moving out there, not knowing how it's going to work out, but believing it's going to work out. Believing that there's a power, as Ernest Holmes says, greater than you are, that you can use. And that power is inside of you. And that is no different from Jesus saying that the kingdom of heaven is within you. The world of infinite potential that you need to bring your life to bear upon this world, to make the difference you wish to see in yourself and in your community, is within you. And the question is, are you going to use it? Are you going to simply just look at the things you can't do and stay there? If I looked at the things I couldn't do, and here I coming into Founders, and at the time this was a really huge church. There are 2 services. There are, I don't know, maybe 1,000 people in one service and 800 in another sometimes in the early days when everything was going really well. There was a school of ministry. All these things came under the minister. And I had to get up. There's a 5-day radio program that Hornaday did, Dr. Hornaday did. And I had to get up to snuff to be doing all these things. I have no idea how all that work got done, but it got done. I did it with the help, of course, of a wonderful staff that worked with me. So what I'm saying to you, if I had just spent the time looking at, but I don't have that kind of experience. I had architectural experience. I knew something about organizing for jobs, which is a kind of a different thing. It's not something to do with crowds and stuff like that. But here it is, that there is the call. Something within you moves to tell you that you need to do this. And it's kind of similar to Moses in the sense that when Moses got the call, Moses didn't want to do it. Moses made a ton of excuses. You know, I stutter. You know, I don't think I can do this. And he comes up with all these excuses when he's called. And the call is a little bit different in the Bible. It's dramatically shaped in the Bible as a bush that is on fire, but it's not consumed. It's not burning. There's fire glowing out of it. And what that tells you when you see such a paradoxical thing in the Bible is that this is an introduction of one's inner communication with God. That's what it tells you. And so it's always set in a paradoxical way. Like Jesus hearing the voice of God speaking from the sky. We're not going to run around hearing the voice of God speaking from the sky. Everything is going to happen within the wonderful innermost aspect of yourself, the sacred aspect of yourself, the soul. And you'll get it. But when it's shaped into spiritual literature, it becomes Buddha sitting on a bow tree and becoming enlightened as a result of that. And these are all symbolic things. We talk about archetypes all the time. There's a world going on within you. And when you understand that there are still powers, laws that you can work with, that are responsive to your thoughts, and that you yourself, by believing in what you're dreaming, can overcome the difficulties that are before you. And as Emerson tells us, what is behind you and what is before you are tiny matters compared to what is within you. So the idea is you begin and you're not perfect. You're not fully qualified. You don't have the experience, but you are bold enough to show up. You're bold enough to show up, and suddenly you begin to find that you have more resources than you ever dreamed of. And it's not really about you. When I say you, it means that you have sparked that innermost aspect of yourself, the God self within you, the thing that makes you all sons and daughters of God. And that openness to become more than you have been and to move boldly in the path becomes a transformation. And so the perfection for me is in the process. It's not in the product. It's not in what you eventually even accomplish. It's the fact that you're enticed, dear Lord, by God to take that journey into your becoming, your greater becoming. And that is the lure. That is the call. That is the encouragement. That's what the lure is. It's the encouragement. You said, I got to do this. I got to do this. And it fills you up so much so that you could be halfway dead, but you're still doing it. And suddenly you find new life and new vitality coming into you despite all the challenges that you have. Leonardo da Vinci was called a universal man. Another word for universal man is a polymath. Someone who can do many things at a high level of genius, sheer genius. And Leonardo, the great Italian Renaissance man, he says, the supreme misfortune is when theory outstrips performance. We can think and think and think and overthink, and we never start doing what is to be done. And all of us have that tendency, some of us more so than others. And all we have to do is to begin. And we will realize, this wasn't as hard as I thought it was. There is something. So the idea is for you to be bold, to act with purpose. Stop just acting. When you get up in the morning, think about what it is that I am moving toward. What is it that I really want to accomplish in my life? And make sure you're doing something that moves you along that path. You may not have all the time you want, but you have some time. Make some time for it and do it. So, this song, which isn't really even about that, there are a couple lines in Bob Marley's song, Lord, I want to keep on moving. Lord, I want to get on down. I like this, the first line so much. Lord, I want to keep on moving. Lord, I want to get on down. No more. But the idea is, when I sometimes want to encourage myself, I get into that song, Lord, I want to keep on moving. In other words, I don't want to get stagnant. I don't want to get to a point where I'm only thinking about life. I want to get to the point where I am doing something about what I'm thinking about. Because the thinking and the doing is where we begin to experience that Buddhist thing that says dependent origination, where they have a word, patiya samutpada, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right, but whatever the pronunciation is, the Buddhists have the idea that it takes one thing and another to come together. It's kind of like a marriage. For us to produce offspring, let's say, biologically speaking, it takes the male and the female coming together. And if you think about that, that is what marriage is in every aspect of your life. And it takes the idea and the doing. That's what Leonardo is talking about, telling us about. Don't just think about it. Don't just pray as if God is going to produce some kind of butler to get you the Bud Light from the fridge. You may have to get up and go get your own Bud Light. But the idea is your arms and eyes and legs and aspects of God. So whatever God is going to do for you, God is going to do through you. He's going to do through you, and He's going to attract people to you, because that's how life works. It's all of us doing things with each other and for each other, maybe not simultaneously at one point, but it is the same process. The perfection is in the process, and you're part of that process. So if you begin, the attraction, the magnetism of what you need will show up for you. So Jeremiah now is telling us, oh, I can see my time is up here. Jeremiah, I never feel like I have enough time to tell you what I need to tell you here. Jeremiah is saying, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. And I teach that God doesn't make specific plans for you. And so what do I mean? Listen to what Jeremiah says. Plans for welfare and not for evil. In other words, He's giving you the values, not really what we would consider plan. He's not giving you a step-by-step, here's what you do. He's saying welfare. For you to have that welfare, that big picture of coming together, of doing what needs to be done. For you to have a future and a hope. It's not really the way we use plan in the modern days. So he's talking about a future and a hope, which means you have the freedom to choose what your future is going to be. So when I say you choose, it's not God choosing your future. God is luring you, God is encouraging you to move along a certain path, but it's still your decision. That's why people can do bad things and people can do good things, because of the fact that the individual, God has made it such that the individual has the freedom to decide. Yes, we should decide on the good things, but we don't always do it. But this is the freedom God has given us to use. He says also for restoring health and healing your wounds. In other words, these are values. These are not plans like you're making a plan, okay, how am I going to get from here to somewhere else? So what I want you to understand is that these values are within you, to know what your welfare should be, to know what your future and your hope and aspiration should be. But it's your choice. That's what the freedom is. And so when you have something to do, time becomes the cutting table for your opportunities. You take the things that you want to do and you put it on and you realize now something's got to go, something's got to get more time. But if we never take the time to do that, then we're going to be wasting a lot of time. And the truth is, our time is limited. no matter what you want to say. We're not going to be in this form forever. We only have so much time, but it is enough time, whatever the time is. It is enough time, and as long as you're here, you have the time. So take a look at what you wish to accomplish and see how you can shape it, and you then are making the real plan. So a brilliant finish has many restarts. So people say, well, oh, I broke my New Year's resolution. Break them as often as you want to. Get back on them. That's the key. The key is not how many times you've broken them. The key is, do you get back and get better each time and sustain it each time? When I started running marathons, it was a hard, hard thing. But after a while, you start running 10 miles, you start running 15 miles. After a while, you can run the 26.2 miles, and I did several of those. So what I want you to know is that we start where we are, and we gradually build up. Consistency and commitment is necessary. So the miracle of working out for well-being is that you're doing something. Your sole commitment needs that you need the marrying of thought with work. Perfection is in the process, not in the product. So don't get overwhelmed when you discover that you're not perfect. Don't make it take you down. Grab a hold of yourself and say, yes, I can do this, I'll start again. Time is the cutting table for opportunities. And so use your time well. When the time is gone, it's gone. It's not coming back. Look at how you're spending your time during the day. And if you're spending your time just being entertained and you're not in the entertainment business, it may be time for you to put it on the cutting table of opportunity and reshape it. A brilliant finish has many restarts. You don't have to be perfect. You don't even have to be the best. What you have to be is committed. And when you're committed, as Goethe says, all these things will come into your experience that you never knew were there. And they would never have come into your experience had you not begun. You must start. And so working out for well-being means that you don't have to be perfect to be amazing, but well-being is in itself the amazing thing. God bless you all. Thank you. Okay. This is our sharing time, and I'm going to invite you to stand. And before we sing, I want to let all my friends on live streaming know that we need your help at Founders. We need your support. And so if you look on your screen, you will see some things that will tell you how to take this opportunity to support a ministry that is worthy of your support. And I will guarantee that Ernest Holmes says, that especially in this little book that I'm teaching here, Discover a Richer Life, he makes it plain that we must keep up with science and philosophy in the science of mind. And one of the things that you're getting here that you may not be getting anywhere else is a little taste of process theology, process philosophy, and how the quantum idea works with some of this. And you're getting it here, doing exactly what Ernest Holmes says we're to do. And you read his chapter on science in this little book, Discover a Richer Life, and you will see that it is said there. So, my friends, your support is needed, and I'm going to invite all of you to stand. And even if you're at home, you want to stand and sing with us, this is really good.
Praise God that good is everywhere. Praise to the love we all may share. The life that thrills in you and me. Praise to the truth that sets us free. Amen.
And Father, Mother God, let us know together what a blessing it is that we can be here recognizing that as we support, we're supported. That as we give, we're given to. That life is always reciprocating, and yet life will end up not owing us anything because you cannot outgive God. And so in this moment, we bring our tithe, our offering, to support this ministry. And we bless the gift now and bless the giver and dedicate the gift to the truth that set us free. And so it is. You may be seated, everyone.
If you know the words to this song, and you probably do, feel free to sing along.
Oh, wonderful.
Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train going anywhere. Cheap perfume. For a smile they can share the night. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting up and down the boulevard, their shadows searching in the night. Street lights, people living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the night. Working hard to get my fill. Everybody wants a thrill, paying anything to roll the dice just one more time. Some will win, some will lose. Some are born to sing the blues. Oh, the movie never ends. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting up and down the boulevard, their shadows somewhere in the night. Street lights, people living just to find emotions, hiding somewhere in the night. Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Street light people. Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Street light people. Don't stop.
Wow. Jennifer, you really did it today. Thank you so much. And the band, you guys were outstanding. Thank you. Thank you. Well, we have come to the end of the service, and I'm very happy that you have been part of it. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope it has made a difference in your life. And now we are going to wind up with our prayer and our final blessing. I want to remind you that we want you to come downstairs and talk to us about your church. You know, this is not the minister's church. It is our church collectively together. We are a participant in this process. The minister is too, and we have some things we need to talk to you about and for you to have input into, so please come down. One of our members brought in some chicken and rice. I believe another, I'm not too sure, brought in some shepherd pie. And I feel like I want to be a sheep to try that shepherd pie today. I don't know if I've ever tried shepherd pie before, but it seems like it's an English dish, so you can imagine who brought it in. So I think Lorraine, I don't know if I'm taking tales out of school. Lorraine is a English Jamaican English. She grew up as an English woman of Jamaican descent, and she is here volunteering her time and helping founders because she believes in what we're doing, and we are really so blessed to have her. And I think Sylvia brought the chicken and rice. She probably went. And the Spanish church brought a lot of food. So you will not be hungry when you come down. So all the people, thank you for that, Cheryl. All right, yes. You see how much we have to be thankful for? You see what I mentioned to you, that once you get an idea how all these parts and pieces come together that never would otherwise, you guys are demonstrating it. So let's turn within and let's just feel how wonderful it is to be in the presence of God. And we're always in the presence of God, but the question is, when do we become aware of it? When do we feel it? When do we understand that there is that power of love that moves through the entire universe, enfolding all the creatures of the universe, but right now enfolding every human being in this church, near the sound of my voice, in our country and in this globe. And here we are feeling the sense of possibilities. We're feeling the sense of commitment. We're knowing that these are pathways, lures, into our greater becoming. That once we begin to feel that the presence of the universe, which is God, cares about us, that we can move from where we are to where we wish to be, empowered by a supportive universe, by supportive laws that still allow our freedom to be fully expressed. I speak my word for healing for those who are having challenges with their health, recognizing that well-being is yours right now. And this is moving from where you are to where you need to be in your vitality. Every cell, tissue, fiber, organ, system of your body is working together for good. The many become one and is increased by one, as Whitehead says. And so the many cells within us, which are all separate beings within themselves, trillions of beings, have come together to make you the individual you are. How grateful we are that such communication can be happening within us, that has sustained our lives until now and beyond. We're so grateful for that. I speak my word for wealth, knowing that God does not experience any cosmic famine. There's no lack and limitation where the flow of wealth is concerned, except to the extent that we are accepting that limitation. I'm knowing And you know with me right now that the flow that you wish to experience is yours. Accept it. Start there and see it grow. I'm speaking my word for relationship, the most vital aspect of life. Whether we are dealing with our relationship with God or with each other. That everyone in this universe is equally important. And so we bring this aspect of our treatment of each other to each other. And we're knowing that this is a wonderful day. Yes, in Los Angeles it's a day of rain, and we welcome it. We welcome this wonderful water that we need to continue to support life. I speak my word especially for all those who are joining us or have joined us on live stream, on YouTube. And I'm blessing you, knowing that your presence and your gifts are truly appreciated and will continue to strengthen this ministry to reach beyond the walls of this church and to bring about a greater good in our universe. And knowing that all is well, I say thank you, Father, Mother, God. And together let us affirm, and so it is. Please stand for the benediction. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. The peace that passes all understanding, and so it is.